Coming up on today's show, I teamed up with my guy Harrison Graham, who covers the Bears here at Chat Sports, for a joint preview. We took a deep dive, talked some X factors, major injury news, and a lot more coming up. You guys are going to love it. But if you want the Giants to beat the Bears this Sunday, hit that thumbs up icon right now.
All right, guys, we got a fun one for you today. Harrison Graham of Bears Now. He's Marshall Green of Giants Now. Bears, Giants, Soldier Field on Sunday. Two teams going in opposite directions, Marshall, as both teams have young quarterbacks. Giants feel like maybe they're in the spot where the Bears were last year.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You got a fun young quarterback and maybe a coach and potentially a GM on the way out. Bears starting to figure things out with Ben Johnson as well. Excited to do this. Should be a fun game on Sunday. At least, if nothing else, Dart's been fun to watch for the Giants this year.
Yeah, look, he's been the bright spot of the season. He actually had a quote saying he's been looking forward to playing the Chicago Bears and playing at Soldier Field due to all the history that's been there. But I thought you hit it nail on the head. The Giants are kind of in the similar situation that the Bears were last year, and I've referenced it a couple of times on my show. Probably a year ago, it's like you don't want to follow kind of the path the Bears have of draft a quarterback, fire a head coach, so on and so forth. But I think at this point, and you can speak to it as well, what you've seen the difference from the prior regime with Caleb to the new one, I think when you have the answer that this coach, this regime can't maximize a quarterback, you just need to go find the guy that can. I understand you don't want the quarterback learning system 2, head coach 2 in year 2, but if system 1 and head coach in year 1 aren't going to produce major results in year 2, 3, and 4, sometimes you got to make tough decisions in this league.
Yeah, I think it's they've kind of broken the golden rule here that I think is one that teams need to follow moving forward is if you're going to draft a quarterback and you're not sold on the head coach and the GM, then you should probably just reset. Now, maybe the Bears have gotten away with it here. We'll find out as time goes on. I want to circle back to both these quarterbacks and the Joe Shane, Brian Daboll situation. But as we kind of get into this preview, let's hit some injury news real quick off the top, and then we'll dive into both these teams a little bit more. It's been busy for the Bears really all year, Marshall, especially defensively. Looks like TJ Edwards, who's been good since he's been back at linebacker, retweaked that hamstring. He did not practice today. I was told by a source that that situation might be worse than people think. So we'll see how the injury report progresses throughout the week. We're filming this Thursday morning, so all these injury notes are from the Wednesday report. So keep that in mind for both Giants and Bears fans watching. But a lot of guys banged up. Jalen Johnson's been out all year. Josh Blackwell, one of their backup CBs, is in the concussion protocol. Luther Burden should be coming back this week. He had a concussion last week. Cole Kmet was concussed last week. He was limited yesterday, so maybe this is a rare case where he's able to play in the next game. But a lot of injuries, and the defense has been struggling as it is, Marshall. So from a Giant standpoint, could be an opportunity to generate explosives. Joe Flacco threw for 470 last week against this Bears defense. So we'll see if Brian Daboll can find some answers there. They don't have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but I can see
we got a little Jordan Humphrey and Ray McLeod, though.
Hey, Darius Slayton, really good contract there for the Giants. Why don't you tell us what's going on with the Giants injury report?
Yeah, it's pretty loaded as well, and some star power out for the Giants. Paulson Adebo has missed the last 2 games due to a knee injury, did not practice on Wednesday, and kind of what we've learned is if you don't practice on Wednesday, you're probably not going to play. Also, Jermaine Illuminor did not practice after missing last week's game. So potentially he could be out again. If he is, it'll be the rookie Marcus Bowe at right tackle. I thought he looked all right last week. There were some snaps he looked like a rookie, and there were some snaps that showed, well, maybe this guy should have been a second-round pick, some limitations with the arm length and the strength. But I do think that is a player that maybe can turn into a down-in, down-out starter down the line. Of course, Graham Gano on the Giants injury report yet again, this time with a neck injury. We'll see what they do there. John Michael Schmitz, their center, got hurt in the game last week. Austin Schlottman filled in. He's actually done a pretty good job. He's had to start a couple of games. I had heard JMS was in a walking boot, so not good stuff there. Darius Musa was starting inside linebacker. He did not practice. The Giants are pretty beat up there. I expect all the guys that are limited, though, to play. That means you're getting back Cordell Flott, who's been pretty good. Third-round pick out of LSU entering year 4. Theo Johnson's probably going to play. Drew Phillips should play. And the Giants, they're low on talent. Some of their guys are hurt, but you're getting a little healthier in the secondary. Javon Holland missed the last 2 games. Hopefully he can come back and make an impact because this secondary, it's in bad shape, as well as the entire defense. They can't stop the run at all.
Yeah, I want you to, as we get to the Bears offense versus the Giants defense, and then we'll flip it there. Why is this Giants front four? Well, it's been good. I think you would agree it has not lived up to what, A, the investment was, and B, what the hope was. What do you think is holding that group back? I know Brian Burns is leading the NFL in sacks, but is this a Shane Bowen issue? Is this a guys not living up to their potential issue? Why is this talented front four with Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, who has some misleading stats? He's had a good pressure rate this year. Kayvon Thibodeau, obviously. Why has it not lived up to being one of the most dominant units in the league?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all of those things. Dexter Lawrence is having his worst year in the league since he had that breakout year 4 or 5 years ago. And not that Dexter Lawrence has been bad, but he set the bar so high, he's just not living up to that at this point. The Giants have been able to create pressure at times, but they're not exotic in the ways that they do it. They will literally just line 4 guys up on the line of scrimmage, and it's like, hey, go and get them. So they've been able to win at times. Brian Burns, if the Giants weren't 2-7 or 2-8 or whatever they are at this point, he might have a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year. And they just haven't been able to put it all together. Like, I'm not worried about the pass rush. I still think that's a spot the Giants can still win at. It's stopping the run, and it's the entire front 7. The Giants' interior defensive linemen, they can't get off blocks. Prior to the San Francisco 49ers game last week, teams were averaging 7.9 yards per rush outside the tackles. The worst in the National Football League, a yard more than the 31st best team. So if Kyle Monunga, I saw Swift maybe coming back this week
limited
as well. That's where they're going to look to run the football. I don't blame them. Brian Burns kind of said this week, I'm no longer looking at it as a challenge. I'm looking at it as an opportunity. Been really impressed with him as a player and a leader. But yeah, everybody else just needs to step it up. The inside linebackers, the safeties don't fit the run well. This is a defense that's top 5 highest paid, Harrison. And they are bottom 5 in production. And I know it's easy to blame the coach. I don't think he's very good at his job. I think he leaves a lot of meat on the bone, but I also feel like at some point the accountability has to fall on the shoulders of the players as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say Dexter Lawrence isn't having a great year. And as far as the Bears go, you would think that Ben Johnson's going to keep leaning into this run game. It's been so productive since the bye week. The first month of the season, they were bottom 10 in pretty much all running categories. They are now second in the NFL in yards per game, which shows how good they've been since the bye week.
Yay.
Ben Johnson dialing things up. Kyle Monungai had his breakout game last week with DeAndre Swift sideline, 176 yards rushing, 6.8 a clip. Physical runner, Marshall, over 120 yards after contact in that game against the bad rush defense, and going up against another bad rush defense this week. I would expect that to continue. It'll be interesting to see if they play Swift this week, because they might look at this matchup and say, this is an opportunity to give him another week off, let that groin fully heal. That's kind of where I would lean. Now, he was limited yesterday or on Wednesday, so we'll see what he does throughout the week. He's been pretty good since the bye week as well. They kind of got their own thunder and lightning thing going now, with Monungai as that physical presence and Swift as that outside the tackles runner. So to your point, I mean, I think they're going to be run first, set up the play action off of that, which is when they've been at their best this year. And that's an area Caleb Williams, by the way, has really improved this year, is the under center play action game. Ben Johnson has really challenged him to work on that in his game, because he didn't do it in college. Last year, they didn't have him do it much. And this year, a lot of their explosives, which the Bears lead the NFL in explosive plays this year, that's 10-plus yard runs, 20-plus yard throws. A lot of the ones in the pass game are under center play action, dial-ups, and Caleb Williams has been pretty good in that area. He still is a bit of a work in progress. The accuracy issues are still not fully resolved, but one area he's making up for it is he's generating a lot of explosives. So you'll deal with some of those misses if you're getting the big plays. And the Bears have certainly been getting those really all season long.
I was going to ask you, when the Bears offense is clicking, what does it look like? You answer all those questions. I'm worried about this game from a Giants perspective. If you can't stop the run, you can't stop anything. And with the play-action game working like it is for the Chicago Bears, Giants fans, I'm going to be honest, I don't feel good about this one. The only hope I have is the Bears defense plays a similar game like they did last week against the Bengals, but even then, what did you put 47 points against them? So I'm not feeling too good about it. You guys sound off in the comment section for us. Who do you got winning this football game? Is it the Bears? Is it the Giants? Sound off down below.
Yeah, let us know in the chat, and we'll tell you a little bit about PrizePicks coming up, get into some X Factor, some other thoughts on the other side of this break. But the hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. It's very easy to navigate the PrizePicks app, as you can toggle by sports and then specific stats as you start to make your lineups. You just pick more or less on stat projections for 2 to 6 player lineups, and if you hit, you win money. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter how you play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Couple of players in this matchup. I took the more on both quarterbacks. To the discussion we're having, Caleb Williams has been playing better each and every week. 227.5 against a bad Giants defense. I like the more there. And I don't think Jackson Dart's throwing for 470 like Joe Flacco, but I think 200 plus is on the table. I took the more on that as well. $20 entry to win $55. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Okay, Marshall, one other player that I think Giants fans need to be aware of is Colston Loveland, who won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. We've kind of been waiting for this breakout game. When's it going to come? Because you've seen on tape, opportunities have been there. He'd kind of slowly been getting more involved. He'd been blocking his ass off, and that's an adage that Ben Johnson said early on when he took this job. No block, no rock, and you're seeing Loveland block a lot. Cole Kmet's been a great blocker. Rome Odunze at the receiver position. His production has dipped recently, but you'll see on Sunday, Marsh, he mixes it up in the run game blocking-wise. But Loveland, I think you're going to see that second half surge here. And, you know, I'm sure all Giants fans saw that game-winning touchdown. His ability to bounce off guys, but just the yards after the catch. He is a unique player in terms of his speed and his size at that position.
I loved him coming out of college. I mean, I watched a lot of Michigan football when J.J. McCarthy was there. He was awesome. And good news for Colston Loveland. The Giants cannot cover tight ends going on 15 years in a row. It seems like every single tight end has a big game against this team. And it just goes to the Giants' inside linebackers, Bobby Okereke, Darius Musow, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. They're not players that have the ability to be in space in cover. And the Giants, they are, I would say, young and inexperienced on the back half of the defense now due to injuries. And there's a lot of times they're just in the wrong spot as well. So I expect a big day from him. You'll see Tyler Nubin try to cover him.
I was going to ask you about him. He's had some issues, right?
Not a great year for him. There was some promising stuff you saw in his rookie year. I think, I know we both live in this boat of, you don't want to overreact to the combine stuff, but I just watch him, and I don't see an NFL athlete on the field. He has to overcompensate in the way that he pursues the football and takes angles, and that then gets him in trouble. He allows runners to get on his toes, and they just beat him to the corner. This is a guy, though, in college that was a turnover-creating machine. He's broken up one pass in almost 30 games in the National Football League. He just doesn't make enough plays, and yeah, I might have to go and add Colston Loveland to my PrizePicks lineup because, he's going to have a big one.
I do think he's a decent add in your fantasy leagues if he's still available. I would imagine he was one of the most picked up players in fantasy this week. Let's circle back to Jackson Dart. Give Bears fans a scouting report, and if you're the Giants, what do you think are some plays that he can, style of play he can have this week to generate big plays, and I can kind of tie in the Bears defense into that as well.
Yeah, what has impressed me the most about Jackson Dart is his success on third down. He is literally top 5 in almost every single third down statistics you want to use. EPA per scramble, EPA per throw, all the nerd stuff. He's at the top of the list in that. So he's been really good at digging the Giants out of holes on third down. And like Caleb Williams, I think that is a skill that franchise quarterbacks have to have at this point. You got to be able to dig your offense out of a hole, and you got to be able to make that second play. When the first play breaks down and nothing's there, what do you got? And shout out to our favorite announcer on that one right there. But
what do you got? Eric Collins, the GOAT.
The GOAT, man. Dart is extremely good at scrambling. But we've started to see teams, Harrison, kind of use that muddy rush type of style where it's like, yeah, we're trying to get home, but we're also just trying to keep him in the pocket a little bit more. Last week, I didn't think he saw the field all that well in the first half. A lot of zone coverage from the 49ers, so maybe the Bears go and watch that tape and implement some more zone coverage this week. But he throws a good deep ball. He works over the middle of the field well. Last week, he really worked well in the quick game. I thought, though, sometimes he should have held on to it a tick longer to try to throw the ball down the field. But he's just working with inferior talent around him. I mean, Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary in the backfield. Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger at tight end. Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton as your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. I think he's got the worst supporting cast in the NFL right now, but he still finds a way to put up points. Put up 33 points against the Denver Broncos a couple weeks ago. So if you are going to win this game, if you're the Giants, it's going to be on the shoulders of Dart. They got to put up points.
Yeah, I think he's done, from what I've seen, a good job of kind of knowing when to get out of jail in the backfield. I feel like he has that kind of inane feel of, okay, here the backside pressure's coming. I got to get out. That's an area Caleb's really improved this year. His pressure to sack rate was horrific as a rookie, and this year I think he's top 10 in the NFL. So he's taken a huge growth in that area. I think Dart's done a pretty good job of knowing when to get out. And like Caleb, there's probably a couple plays a game where it's like, what are you doing here? But that's part of being a young quarterback.
Hold on to the ball sometimes too long. I think he's walking that line of when do I say die and how long do I want to extend plays. He's a gamer, man. Like that John Gruden QB school clip we saw, it's real. He's crazy. He's going to lower his shoulders. He's not afraid of contact. He is hard to bring down. But I think the next step for him is realizing there is another play to play. And you don't always have to swing for a home run. But overall, I've been really impressed.
Yeah, threading that needle is always the balance when you have these dual threat type of quarterbacks. I will say if TJ Edwards is out, I think attacking the middle of the field could be an area that the Giants could deploy. Jaquan Brisker hasn't played super well the last 2 weeks. He was playing well before that. We'll see if he can bounce back at safety. The veteran Kevin Byard, though, is kind of the ageless wonder. Still a good player. Tyreek Stevenson stepped up without Jalen Johnson. He wasn't good against the Bengals, but I think he'll play a lot better against this receiving core this week. I think for Giants fans, areas to attack. Nashawn Wright, the other outside corner, who's been kind of up and down. He's played better against lesser receivers. He was not good last week. T. Higgins gave him fits. Giants don't have a T. Higgins, so we'll see kind of what that matchup looks like. I would imagine Brian Dable will dial some shots at him and see if he can hold up. And then I'm curious to see what this Giants rushing attack looks like, because while the Bears defense has struggled in recent weeks, largely due to injuries, because they don't have a good pass rush and they don't have a healthy secondary, they have been good against the run the last few weeks. And without Scadaboo, it sounds like that's been a challenge for the Giants. So I'll be curious to see if Dable sticks with it or if this just kind of turns into a Jackson Dart game.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the Giants struggled a little bit last week. And really where they grew as an offense was in the red zone. And that was just give Cam Scadaboo the football, and he's going to go churn out 3.5, 4 yards per pop, and then eventually he's going to break one inside the 20. And they used him a lot as a pass catcher out of the backfield as well. And we saw Devin Singletary get more carries than Tyrone Tracy, a back who his rookie year had over 800 rushing yards, did have a shoulder injury to start the year. So maybe that is kind of hindering his ability to be a workhorse. But not having that rushing attack, I think we're starting to see the trickle-down effect of how that is changing the way defenses play Jackson Dart. So if the Giants can run the ball this week, that'll help. I don't know if they'll be able to do so, Could be down Jermaine Illuminor again. Could be down JMS. You're down 2 of your 5 starters on the O-line. That's always tough to overcome. But the Giants, one thing that Bears fans should know, since Jackson Dart has taken over, are a top 5 team when it comes to scoring points on opening drives. They've been able to get that scripted drive down. They did it last week. I think they've done it. Dart has started, I think, 5 games at this point. 4 of the 5 games they've scored on the opening drive. It's just been after that they haven't been able to put it together. So, I mean, if you can get a stop on the first drive, if you're the Bears, that's going to immensely help your opportunity to win.
Yeah, one stat I saw this week, too, is I think the Bears' point differential at home is like plus 26. Giants are minus 50. So this being a 4.5-point spread, I kind of like a Bears play here. I mean, that feels a little bit low. But I will say this, the Bears, even though they're 5-3, they're a flawed team. Like, if the Giants play well and the Bears don't play great, this is not some layup game. So I do think there's a chance for the Giants here to at least have an opportunity in the fourth quarter. But those home road splits are a little tough. I think a key matchup here, then we'll get out of here unless you got any final thoughts. If the Giants are going to win this game, that front four
I was going to ask you, how is the Bears O-line?
It's been really good. Now, I think one area they could exploit, especially in pass rush situations, is they're playing this second-year UDFA, Theo Benedict, at left tackle, and he's pretty good in the run game. He's athletic. He mixes it up. He drove a Bengals secondary 10 yards into the bench last week, which fired everybody up. He's got shorter arms. He's got limitations. So, like, if I'm the Giants, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns specifically, I'd be lining those 2 guys up on Benedict one-on-ones and see if they can hold up. I would imagine that the Bears are going to use a tight end to chip on that side pretty frequently, because I think if the Bears lose this game, it's because the Giants' D-line blows up a couple pass plays. Like that, gets a strip sack, a game-changing turnover, which the Bears have been very good at not turning the football over. That's really always been a strength of Caleb's going back to last year. He does not turn the ball over a lot. So if the Bears can avoid the disastrous play, I think they're in good shape. If the Giants can create a couple of game-changing plays, I think that's how you win this game if you're New York.
Yeah, I mean, they made a play like that against Mac Jones to close the first half, and they didn't gain a yard, and then Graham Gano shanked a 37-yard field goal.
Everyone's favorite kicker.
Love Graham Gano. I mean, at some point, you feel like the Dexter Lawrence game is coming, but who knows if it does. And the formula for the Giants to win has been the same it has since the first round of the NFL draft. Your front 4, your core 4, they have to dominate. The reason you were able to beat the Los Angeles Chargers earlier in the season, they dominated. The reason you were able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, they made big plays in that game. It's gut check time for the Giants. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a team that starts 2-7 and you finish the season 3-14, 4-13, or are you going to fight? Are you going to fight for your head coach? Are you going to fight for your general manager? I think we're going to learn a lot about this Giants team over the next couple of weeks. I think we've already learned a lot at this point. I get it. Look, it's hard. Malik Neighbors is out. Cam Scadaboo is out. But, like, at the same time, if your offense is a rookie 4th-round running back and a second-year wide receiver, what have you been doing the other 3 years to build this roster? I'm a little bit worried about where this team is headed. And I guess I'll just end it with this. What would you say, Harrison Graham, to Giants fans that believe you can't fire Brian Daboll because Daboll is Dart's guy? Dart is Daboll's guy and all that jazz.
Well, I think it was probably a mistake to keep these guys last year, then allow them to draft a quarterback. Here's what I will say. They didn't take him like first overall. Like, it would be disastrous if they took him 3rd and they were going down this path. They took him 25th. If they're not good enough, they're not good enough. You have to get them out. So I don't think that you keep a guy just because, we don't want to. Well, if you don't think he's any good, you don't think he's any good. Like, you can't go back in time and fix that mistake from last year. You know, I said this about the Bears. Like, they should have fired Eberflus after the second year. Well, you can't change it. You found Ben Johnson. That's going pretty well. So if you find your own version of Ben Johnson, if you're John Mara, then it'll be fine. And ultimately, if Dart's good enough, it'll work out. So that's what I've reached. He is good enough to where he doesn't just need Brian Daboll. And Brian Daboll isn't the only guy that loves Jackson Dart at this point. I get peppered with Lane Kiffin questions. I'm like, guys, there's more than 2 people walking this earth that would love to coach Jackson Dart at this point. Yeah, you can find someone, and obviously you got to find the right guy. That's what it comes down to. But I would think that coaching candidates would be intrigued by that job. You got a talented defensive front. I think the O-line has some building blocks with Andrew Thomas. I don't know if JMS is the long-term piece there, but you've got Illuminor, who I would re-sign. I think he's been pretty good. And then you have a quarterback that I think is outplayed what people thought he could do in Jackson Dart. So if they don't think Dable's the answer, I think Dart's shown enough to respective head coaching candidates that you could find whoever the next Ben Johnson is, or just a solid head coach. So we'll see what the Giants end up doing there. But to your point, like, it's kind of now or never if Dable's going to keep his job. Like, if they stumble to 4-13, it's kind of hard to justify.
And what's the difference
running
between 4-13 and 6-11?
Yeah, I mean, there's
5 and
context.
12.
If Dart is just playing unbelievably well with this supporting cast, would you consider keeping it? But again, it's like, well, then he's probably just good enough regardless of who the coach is.
I mean, if you put together a highlight reel of Jackson Dart's 20 best plays, 16 of them are out of structure, creating the second play instead of just hitting his back foot and delivering a seed because, one, guys aren't open, and two, you don't really have the personnel for them to get open at this point.
Yeah, that's not really scheme-driven.
Yeah.
To your point there. All right, you got a prediction for us as we get out of here? I can go first while you're thinking.
I'll go Bears 27, Giants 17.
I'm going to go a little higher but similar, 34-24. I think the Giants will make some plays. I do think this Bears defense will play better just based on opposition personnel alone, especially at the receiver position. But I like 34-24. I think the Bears cover. And this is a critical game for Chicago because the schedule really ramps up after this. So you got to get to 6-3. Still have the Packers twice. Still have the Lions again. Have the Vikings again. Have the Eagles on the road. The Niners on the road. So if they're going to make a push to be a wild card team, or who knows, maybe in the division, got to beat the Giants at home. All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. If you want to see what's going on with Marshall, if you're a Bears fan, he hosts our Giants channel, Giants Now. Go subscribe over there. You can find me here on Bears Now. This video is going on both channels, obviously. We'll see what happens on Sunday. What time are you going live?
Was it a noon game?
It's a noon game.
Noon game. I'll be live an hour before.
Noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be live. We usually do 10:45 Central for noon game, so hopefully you'll join us. Marshall, this was fun.
Yeah, had a blast.
Do this down the road. See you guys soon.